All right, it is 5:59 and 45 seconds, so we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Nathan, would you take the roll, please?
Councilmember McPherson.
Here.
Councilmember Biggs.
Here.
Councilmember Laraway.
Yes.
Council President Bruce.
Here.
Mayor Steer.
Here. And if you'll join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item is the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I did notice one thing that item E1 has one extra zero in there.
It's also in the resolution.
Unless it's for 1.5 million.
Right there. Extra
Oh.
zero. It's in the resolution as well.
150.0000, okay. Nathan, can you clarify what that is?
That's just a
Amount-wise?
typo. It's a typo. The contract or the professional service agreement is to not exceed 150,000.
Okay. All right, anything else? Good catch.
That's it. Councilman Laraway, do you have anything? I move we approve the consent agenda as published with the update to item E1, that it is 150,000 that we are agreeing to and not 1.5 million.
I'll second that.
Motion is made and seconded. Is any discussion on that motion? Nathan, would you poll the council, please?
Councilmember McPherson.
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs.
Yes.
Councilmember Laraway.
Yes.
Council President Bruce.
Yes.
And that motion carries. Next, we have public comment. David Wardell. If you would just state your name and address for the record.
Can you say it into the mic so we can get it on the recording, please? Thank you.
And is it green?
Push the base there.
There you go.
That was easy.
Okay, now go.
Yeah. David Wardell, 2230 East Condor Lane, CUNA. I came to discuss a little bit of issues that I have with the building department, and just a few minutes ago, Mayor Steer informed me that there are some changes being made, and so I am compelled to cut back on my rhetoric considerably. But I would like to comment that at this time, in this jurisdiction, you have absolutely no code compliant construction going on. My understanding that's going to change. I hope so. That's why I came in. There have been many errors, not only in plan check, but also in inspections. Again, I've been told that's going to change. I hope so. The building department is going to need your support, because if they start doing what I've been told they're going to start doing, and in fact enforcing the code, the builders are going to scream. And they're going to be on you. And I hope that you will support your people and not succumb to politics, because that's one of the reasons that these people back off. I talk to a lot of superintendents here in this area and in other areas. Their whole general and almost 100% attitude is, we don't care about the code. As long as we can get away with it and make money at it, we're going to keep doing it. And if you start making them do it correctly, it's going to cost more. And that's going to be a problem. So I urge you to please support your building department and planning and zoning and all those, and let them know that they're, as long as they stay in the code, you're going to back them. So anyway, that's The big thing I have discussed earlier with your building official, he said that the workforce out there is very poor. Mostly, much of it is unskilled and untrained, which is true. I've worked around the world in mostly in third world countries, and the workforce that's out here right now building in this jurisdiction is not much better in the general framing areas. These people will improve if the code is enforced. They will not ever improve if the code maintains what you're doing, what has been done. So I certainly hope that everyone will rise to the occasion and give the people in this town what they have every right to expect is a code compliant home when they buy one. The building code represents the worst, the lousiest house you're allowed to build by state law. It's a good house, but it's the lowest level of quality that you're allowed to build. None of them currently being built meet that standard.
Sir, you've reached your time. If you can wrap up your comments.
Thank you. That's just, I hope you give them some support, and quite frankly, I would be more than happy to assist if anyone has any questions later on what's going on. I am a certified building inspector and have 50 years experience as a builder. So I do know a little bit.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very
Thank
much. Michael Law.
Michael Law. I reside at 892 North Cranesville Avenue here in Kuna. Just wanted to make a quick statement on the resolution that you just passed on the cooperative agreement between Valley Regional Transit and the city of Kuna. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. Why? Because that is not the proper role of government. It is not to provide transportation or anything else, or provide the means for anybody else, especially from somebody like myself who doesn't ever commute. Traffic is not a problem for me, but yet if we continue to push public transportation, I'm still going to be paying for it. And that is called extortion, when you take money and do not provide a service. Is it available? Yes, but it's not something that I need or want. Just to remind you, the proper role of government is to provide, not to provide anything, but to protect life, liberty, and property. You all took an oath to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States, and that is the purpose of government, as the Declaration very clearly lays out. It is to protect life, liberty, and property, not to provide for any of that. It is only to protect, and this is not protecting, this is providing, and that is not a proper role of government. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Law.
Thank you, Michael.
And that's all I had to sign in for public comment. Is there anybody else who wishes to, that didn't get a chance to sign in? All right. And that takes us to public hearing for case number 2408AN and 2405S. Troy, you may have the floor, sir. Oh, you even get to sit down this time. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am sitting tonight instead of standing. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. For the record, Troy B. Hunan, Kuna Development Services Department, Senior Planner. The applications before you this evening request annexation of approximately 79 acres and to apply the R6 and the C1 zones. The applicant is also requesting a preliminary plat approval in order to subdivide the site into 354 single-family lots and 38 common lots, 12 common driveways, a school lot, and also a city park. lot. The site is located near the southwest corner of 10 Mile and Cuna Roads. Staff would like to highlight that this developer is working with Cuna Rural Fire District and the charter school for an on-site school lot and also a city park. The applicant has made adjustments to the site to accommodate also a 40-foot wide Boise Project Board of Control easement along the Sunbeam and Bead Lily frontages for at least part of the frontages, and an exhibit demonstrating that cross-section of those specific frontages are in the council's packet. Staff has reviewed the proposed annexation and the preliminary plat applications for compliance with CUNA City Code, Idaho state statutes, the CUNA Comprehensive Plan, and should the council approve the annexation and the preliminary plat applications, staff does recommend that the applicant be subject to the proposed recommended conditions that are outlined in staff's memo. The applicant is present tonight, and they do have a presentation which begins on page 194 of the packet. And the staff report begins on page 222. And I'll be here for any questions that you might have.
All right. And who do we have presenting for the applicant?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. My name is Stephanie Hopkins. I'm with KM Engineering. Our address is 5725 North Discovery Way in Boise. And Jamie with Kittleson is with me too, so I'll let him introduce himself.
Yes, for the record, Jamie Markosian, Kittleson and Associates, traffic engineer, 101 South Capitol Boulevard, Boise, Idaho, 83702.
Okay, so we are thrilled to be here this evening. I was actually preparing for this presentation, looking back at the history of everything, and realized that today is my 6-year work anniversary with KM Engineering. And this was the first project I worked on when I started working at KM. So I've been a part of the development team from the beginning, as has obviously the developer. Kittleson has been involved, and we've been fortunate enough to be able to coordinate with the city, Troy, who's been here the whole time, and various other stakeholders and folks that have been involved throughout the project for several years. So we've made quite a few changes, and think that this development is going to be a great benefit to South Cuna. The developer has a lot of experience developing in CUNA and has been able to kind of harness relationships and gather amenities and things within this development that will greatly benefit not only the residents here, but residents in CUNA overall. So we've made changes based on the feedback we've received, not only recently with Planning and Zoning Commission, but initially we'd actually planned on running this as a planned unit development, and we were going to be requesting R12, R6, C1, is going to be considerably more dense. We had 432 units. Now we have 354. We previously were going to have an attached townhome product that was going to be pretty dense. And then we decided to kind of scale that back based on feedback we'd been receiving from staff and other agencies during the time, neighbors, and also based on the feedback that we've received on other projects the developer's been working on. So Gallica Heights was recently approved. That's one that we've been kind of watching, obviously, as this project has been evolving as well. And you know, the PUD request was something that wasn't supported in that application, and we realized it wouldn't be supported in this either. So we pulled that request and have changed the plat considerably since the beginning. Notably, the future fire station lot that's in the north part, so the north arrow is pointing to the right. This is Cuna Road. Bead Lily's on our west. That's going to be a new collector that will be constructed with this project. The fire station lot was actually already donated to the Cuna Rural Fire District ahead of a bond that they needed passed. So that was an integral piece of that bond being passed, and the developer was more than happy to do that, and happy to support them in that endeavor. See, we have several folks from the development team here too, so we'll address, I'll address the land use stuff, and Jamie's gonna cover traffic, and then if you have any further questions, we can bring other folks up, and some other folks are signed in to speak as well. Troy did a wonderful job covering the basics, so I'm gonna keep it brief. Future land use is supported in this area. It's medium density residential. Our plat is 6 units per acre. And we are requesting the C1 district. So we're asking for your approval on annexation into the C1 district, about 2.57 acres and 76.39 acres in the R6 district. Alongside that, we have a preliminary plat that we're requesting for approval on this evening as well. So this is the layout. We have 421 total lots. 7 of those are C1, so that's commercial lots. And then 409 are R6. So 354 of those are buildable. There are 306 standard single-family homes. So these are the ones that are kind of in the majority of the site. We've specifically positioned those against Sutter's Mill, which is to our east, to provide a nice transition. And then there are alley-loaded lots in the kind of central area here. Based on Planning and Zoning Commission's discussion the last time that we met with them, they wanted to see more open space and a pedestrian connection from south to north. So Sunbeam is a collector roadway on the south boundary of the site. We connected a pathway and increased open space opportunities through the middle, and then also added some pedestrian connections that could go to the commercial area on the west side of the development. And as mentioned, there's a park lot that's included in a school lot that the developer's partnering with Bloom and Sage International. They're here tonight and they'll speak. Open space is provided in excess of what code requires. So 10.5% of the overall site is required, which is about 8.29 acres. We're providing 11.7 acres, which is about 15% of the overall site of open space. There are additional buffers that have been added throughout the process, and internal walkways that I'd mentioned. This is just a zoomed in version of the amenities. And then access and connectivity was a big discussion during Planning and Zoning Commission. There is a portion of right-of-way that's currently unopened, ACHD right-of-way, that we are working through a process with them to exchange that right-of-way for right-of-way that will be dedicated in other areas of the site. There are 2 homes that currently access there, so we've included 2 deeded lots for them to access their homes. There's a primary access that'll be going to Cuna Road, which is on the north boundary here. That's a minor arterial roadway that will be constructed. Half of this will be constructed with the development. Bead Lilies on our west boundary, that's a collector. It'll be a new north-south collector roadway that does not currently exist on the west boundary. And that will be constructed, half of that will be constructed with this development, as will stub streets into the subdivision and Sunbeam, which is a collector roadway on the south boundary. So I'll turn it over to Jamie.
Keeping on the lens of transportation and connectivity, we prepared a comprehensive traffic impact study which studied the previously defined development plan, which was more dense than this. ACHD has reviewed and accepted that TIS and issued a staff report assuming those land uses. So the land uses you see before you today are less dense, and in other words, produce less traffic than the original project did. Our comprehensive assessment here goes not only for the site frontage and adjacent intersections, but we're touching intersections and roadways up to 5 miles away from this site. We studied all the way up to Amity Road and all the way out to State Highway 69 with this project. We're using a combination of existing traffic counts, area growth projections through the Community Planning Association Southwest Idaho, or COMPASS, and the Institute of Transportation Engineers trip generation manual to develop project-generated trips that would be coming to and from this development. The revised preliminary plat that you see before you with 354 residential lots is considerably less dense than the original product, going from R12 to R6. And so within that ACHD staff report, we have seen mitigations that are required, conditions of approval that are required, that include additional study of area intersections and roadways, which may include additional improvements that are required as mitigation from the developer. There will need to be a separate TIS and CUP for the school site, and study intersections and segment along Cuna Road within the study area, unfortunately, are not identified in the ACHD CIP or the 5-year work plan. And they do meet ACHD levels of planning, ACHD planning level of service thresholds for volumes on those classification of roadways. Down here you see a CIP map. So all the circles and roadway segments that are colored within represent projects that are identified and listed in the ACHD capital improvements plan. In blue, you see the various developments that are in this area, and here we are at Madrone Village, kind of, in the southwest corner of this aerial snip. I'll turn it back to Stephanie.
So with this development, the developer will be funding the improvements that I'd mentioned earlier. So the half-street connection, or the half-street improvement on Kuna Road, Bead Lily Avenue, which is that new collector on the west boundary, Sunbeam, which is the southern collector, and then so with those roadways, the developer will actually be funding those and improving those with each of the phases as they come in as final plats, and that'll be required before they can get occupancy on homes, and that's something that's entirely funded by the developer. And I think Jamie maybe mentioned this, but the traffic impact study, or the ACHD report, requires that we do a reanalysis at the 200th lot for the intersection of Black Cat and Columbia Road. So that's going to be something that they will look at again when we have a final plat come through, and they'll be able to assess whether there are additional mitigations required. So impact fees are another thing. The city, ACHD, the Kuna Fire District, and other agencies will collect a one-time impact fee from Madrone Village to fund public improvements like roads, parks, and other services that are required. And these are necessary to serve the growth that is proposed with this. So it's not meant to take care of existing issues. It's meant to, basically development will pay for itself, right? That's the idea. So these impact fees are based on the number of residences that are proposed. So for example, ACHD has an impact fee of $3,493. It's required per unit, so that comes out to $1.2 million. Overall, the impact fees that this development will contribute to these different agencies is $2.88 million, which will be obviously a huge benefit and impact to these agencies. And I can go through the conceptual phasing if you'd like, or I can touch on that during rebuttal, but really appreciate your consideration this evening. We're really excited about this project, and we're here to answer questions if you have them. This project will be a really great benefit to the community, and it's been a long time coming. It'll be a great project, so thank you.
Okay, questions?
Not at this time. Oh,
Yes, go ahead.
Stephanie,
Councilmember Bates.
yes, sir. Stephanie, so the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended denial of this 4-0, and one was out. So it was unanimous. And I guess the two primary concerns they brought up were traffic. They brought up the traffic that was already mentioned, and then also Kuna Road and 10 Mile intersection there. I guess, what have you done to mitigate their concerns since June the 10th, that meeting?
Thank you, Mayor, Councilman Biggs. I don't know that we've done any additional work to mitigate their concerns or their requests. I think that during that meeting, we didn't address their concerns comprehensively. And so that's partially why we have Jamie here again. He came to the first Planning and Zoning Commission meeting and wasn't available for the second. So I was fielding a lot of traffic questions that I wasn't prepared to answer. I think the main thing that we want to convey tonight is that the construction of Bead Lily Avenue, which is that new collector on the west boundary, is going to provide an alternative option for folks that would maybe take 10 Mile otherwise. 10 Mile, the additional accesses there will alleviate the current traffic that's on 10 Mile. I don't know if Jamie wants to add some more information.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie Marcosian. Let's see. Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Biggs, the analysis that we prepared at 10 Mile and Kuna did indicate a level of service F. In other words, a pretty significant amount of delay for folks coming from the south, northbound, at 10 Mile. Per ACHD policy, that intersection is a two-way stop controlled intersection. In other words, the only traffic control there is a stop sign for folks traveling northbound on 10 Mile. Within our analysis, we look at what's called a volume to capacity ratio, and it's an assessment, a calculation, et cetera, effectively, of how much volume is on the roadway versus how much volume it can process. And typically that goes in a ratio of 1.0 or less. 1.0 would be the roadway is at capacity, so it cannot accommodate additional volume. In our analysis, we are seeing a volume to capacity ratio of 0.86 or 86%. And what's happening within that operations analysis that leads to an LOSF or an excessive delay is simply the fact that there is a large volume of vehicles moving east to west on Cuna Road. And so finding a gap for folks who are headed northbound out of 10 Mile becomes a little bit difficult. It is still within the ACHD levels of service thresholds though, given it is a two-way stop controlled intersection. And because it's not part of the ACHD CIP and there still is additional capacity available on that roadway segment and at that intersection, ACHD has not conditioned additional mitigations at that location at this time. So there are, like we talked about, there are additional traffic analyses that are impending unit count as the project would be ongoing. And so this could be one of those locations that gets rolled in. ACHD has identified the Black Cat and Columbia Road intersection in particular for that additional analysis, but those are some of the reasons why 10 Mile Cuna came up in our traffic study, but also some of the reasons why, as we comply with ACHD's policies, it is not shown as a piece of mitigation within the project.
Is there, I guess, expectation from your study that the adjoining subdivision, Sutter's Mill, people are going to be going through this one to get out?
There could be. I think there are stub streets right now in Sutter's Mill that would be continued and connected within the Madrone Village project. And additionally, the Sunbeam Street collector that runs east to west on the south border of both of those developments, plus the addition of a new north-south collector at Bead Lily Avenue, offers that additional outlet capacity for folks who are in Sutter's Mill perhaps who need to get out to Cuna Road and can take Sunbeam to Bead Lily to access Cuna Road in that way. Typically, the most delay that you'll see at 10 Mile Cuna is for folks who are sitting at the stop sign trying to make a left-hand turn to head westbound. The right-hand turn is a much more easy movement to control, but those left-hand turns have to navigate two directions of traffic instead of one. And so having that additional connectivity with Bead Lily Avenue and Sunbeam Street to move folks out of Sutter's Mill and Madrone up to Cuna Road is going to help the 10 Mile Cuna location.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
You bet.
I guess I'll go back to Stephanie for the other concern that the planning and zoning had. Is there going to be a school presentation with this?
Mayor, Commissioner, Councilman Biggs, yes, they are here
Then
to
I'll
speak, so.
save that.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question. before
Yes,
you-
Councilmember Laraway.
Just a little clarification, because this is the second time we've seen this, and I didn't bring it up the first time. The land that surrounds the future school, is that a city park or is that school property?
Mayor, Councilman Laraway, that would be a city park. The school and the city are going to have some kind of agreement, and actually the school could probably provide you a little bit more information on that, but they'll have an agreement to jointly use those, and it'll be the city's.
Okay, bear with me a minute. Chief, clarification, I can open carry at a city park. But I can't open carry on a school ground, so which is this gonna be?
For the record, Mike Fertusco, Chief of Police for the City of Cuna, 793 West 4th Street. You are correct, Councilman Laraway, you can carry in a park. You cannot carry on school property.
So there's gonna be some confusion on that, and I know, like I said, this is only the second time we've brought this up. I didn't think about it the first time, but if this is gonna become a trend, there might be some clarification that we might have to deal with.
Sure, that's a great point. I hadn't considered that either, but I think, our development team could certainly consider and try to find a solution.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anything further?
I did, actually.
Yes, Councilmember Bruce.
Thank you. When you're discussing the traffic coming off of this development, do you think that some of the traffic will be headed up Black Cat?
Mayor Steer, Councilman Bruce, yes, for sure. Black Cat serves as a key north-south corridor to get folks across Indian Creek, Railroad, and up to places, towards the interstate. From a just ease of use perspective, probably a lot more efficient for someone to head up Black Cat towards those destinations to the north as it would be to slog through downtown Cuna and then make their way over to Highway 69 to head northbound there. Certainly people will go east to head north, but given the location of this project and the access that Black Cat provides to the north, we do anticipate a good amount of vehicles, traveling north-south on Black Cat Road.
And that was just, and that's what I was thinking as well, because I think we have about at least 5 developments that are being built up Black Cat now. So it's something to think about of the traffic as it trends west and goes north. So, thank you.
All right. Anything further for the applicant?
No, sir.
Sir.
All right. Thank you. All right, this is a public hearing. Is there anybody who wishes to testify that didn't get a chance to sign in on this sheet? Okay. We'll start with Keith Donahue. If you would just state your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. I am Keith Donahue. I reside at 1811 West Residue Street in Boise, Idaho. And I am here as a representative of both Bloom, and we presented to you all about 6-7 months ago about who we are and what we do across the state. I'm also a board member of the SAGE International Networks of Schools. So pleasure to be here speaking with you. And we covered a lot when we spoke with you before, so I'll try and just hit on some key points that I've heard come up in subsequent hearings, attending and listening to those. So charter schools are public schools that are part of the public school system designed to bring choice into that system. I feel choice is important. I'm a graduate of SAGE International, graduate of Boise High. Both were served very well by the 2 different schools, traditional and charter. Charter schools are public, they're free, and they accept all students and serve all students. And Ms. Downey, who's speaking on behalf of SAGE, will provide you some data about how diverse the student population is there, just to give some comfort in that regard. Charter schools conduct their enrollment by lottery. Gets a little confusing, but I'll try to explain it real quick. If there's less demand than seats, every person who put in the lottery in every grade gets in, regardless of that they got disabilities, anything of that nature, you're in. If there's more applicants than seats in any given grade, there's a lottery. Students who already attend are automatically in. Staff children get a priority. Siblings of students will already get a priority. And then all students residing in the primary attendance zone get a priority. SAGE will draw their primary attendance zone to include all of CUNA. So CUNA residents will get a priority. Only if there's still space after that. The 5th priority level is students outside that area to fill the school. I hope that helps make sense, because that question's come up quite a bit. The plan approach that we have, as Bloom, working in partnership with SAGE for the CUNA school, is similar to what we did in Middleton. We often take a phased approach with our schools, where we, in this instance, we would build a facility capable of housing K-8. We'd likely open in 2028 with K-4, K-5, and grow over 4 or 5 years to fill that initial phase 1 space. Assuming that everything is going well and there's demand in the community and interest for the school and a need, we would then fund and finance the phase 2 construction, build a high school, become a K-12. We make that decision at that time based on desire in the community. So we kind of build phased for a variety of reasons. We think it's good for kids in schools not to try to be a 500 student school all at once. It's exactly the approach we took in Middleton with our school campus there. I think that school's in its 7th year, and this is the 1st year with the completed high school building. An important note I want to make is we build our facilities with no levies and no burden on the local taxpayers. We use our state funds, philanthropy, and private financing. So, we typically we're building K-12 schools for 700 kids for a total of about 16 million. And none of that's local taxpayer money. We do it through those other resources. And the benefit here of donated land through Mr. X. So happy to stand for questions, and we look forward with partnering with the community should you choose to move forward with this.
Okay, yes, Councilmember Bruce.
So I appreciate it. I actually think the fact that the taxpayers aren't having to build the schools are a great option. But are you, I know that there will be some impacts on public schools, whether you can't house some or maybe special needs kids or sports. Do you track any of that data at all? Because I get a lot of concerns from our constituents to say, hey, yeah, it's great you're building that, but it is going to impact the schools some, the public schools. Do we know what that impact is, or is that something that you track or you even can identify?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor and Councilmember Bruce, it is something we track, and more clarity probably on the SPED and special education end of things than exactly how sports works, because that varies a bit, but I can answer both. And Ms. Downey will have some data showing that. So when we as Bloom, through the Albertson Foundation, support schools, we require busing and free and reduced lunch program from day one. That helps enable all families to attend. We also put as a goal in every grant application that we consider that the school has to be attempting to meet or exceed the low income and special ed population of the district they're located in. And they have to have a plan for how they're going to do that. And Ms. Downey will share that the Middleton campus for SAGE in fact exceeds the Middleton district in both of those metrics. I believe the GEM Prep school that was approved recently also, Meridian South exceeds Meridian. So that's a goal we watch and focus and make sure the school's staff to achieve. Charter schools are subject to the exact same equal access laws as traditional districts.
Okay.
We're subject to all those laws. Parents can bring an action if we exclude or do not provide all of the rights, and access they're entitled to. I hope that provides clarity
Well,
on
and
that.
I just know that this is a new, especially for our district, having
Yep.
someone that has the forethought to bring their own schools in. And I just want to make sure that we understand all the impacts or the moving parts that we're seeing, moving forward. Because it is a great idea. I think it does help with the community, but I just want to make sure that we're not having an adverse impact on one agency rather than the other. So, thank you.
I mean, it's a great question. And just to follow up on that, we receive the same federal funding to support those students as well, and Medicaid reimbursement and those type of things. So it's essentially the same approach.
Okay. Thank you.
So, and then on the sports side, we have our schools attempt to offer the sports they can afford to offer. We don't build schools with football stadiums or schools this size necessarily could support a program like that. If the charter school offers a sport, the students at that school, play that sport at that school. If a charter school does not offer a sport that is offered in the district, that child has the ability to, if it's a competitive sport, try to compete and get on the school that would be their traditional home district school, and then they would pay the fees that a participant pays. So, and we do have, oftentimes, and I'll speak with SAGE, that's what I know best. Typically, if a kid's a big football kid, they'll transfer into the school with their teammates.
Okay.
But oftentimes, some kids will stay at the charter, and, we try to give them electives at the end of the day so they can get over to practice on time and participate. And again, these are kids from the community, so
Yep.
that's how that works. Does that answer the question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Further question? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Emily Downey.
Yes, hi, thank you. I'm Emily Downey, 6060 South Sturgeon Way in Boise, Idaho, about South Boise, pretty close to Kuna. Go to the dentist here in Kuna, love it. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor and Council, for allowing me to speak. I am the Executive Director of the SAGE International Charter Schools. I'd like to speak on support of the Madrone development. And just start with a thank you to Mr. Eck for the planned donation for a SAGE school and a park that's going to benefit the community. It's a very high-performing schools, as I'll talk to a little bit, and it's just a huge benefit to the Kuna community to add that. SAGE schools are international baccalaureate schools, and what that means is it's simply a framework for rigorous college preparatory schools that are designed to develop inquiring, knowledgeable, caring young people with critical thinking skills. Our schools offer after-school, during breaks, and summer enrichment programming to help take care of those kids, and some athletics, and a robust outdoor education program. We offer student busing, which is really important in terms of a benefit for our kids and families, and also for traffic implications. And we offer a full nutrition program that provides free and reduced meals for qualifying students, so that we're making sure we're open to everybody. We always exceed our financial metrics while providing transparency and prioritizing our budget that goes straight into the student as much as we can. We feel very honored. My husband and I have 3 boys that graduated from the SAGE Boise campus. All 3 of them graduated with a full year of college credits. hefty scholarships, all free rides, one to Texas A&M, and then my twins to Montana State. All three of them are graduated from college and thriving in highly sought-after careers as engineers. So clearly we are sold. We reaped the benefit of that. And I think it's important to really understand what happens to a community by placing a SAGE school in that community. We are able to reach all sorts of students with different needs through our randomly drawn public lottery and get meaningful measures of growth and outcomes for those students. A good example of that, and this speaks to one of your questions, is our Middleton campus. We have significantly higher special education, Hispanic, and low-income students and military families. All of those compared to the Middleton district around us, yet we consistently exceed student growth for all of the academic measures. Our Boise campus has similar demographics to the Boise School District. Again, there we are consistently outperforming in growth and in all of those proficiency metrics. And you know, Boise School District is one of the higher performing districts in the state. SAGE schools are also. Our Middleton campus and our Boise campus are just examples of what a high-performing school can provide to our parents in the community. Our parents in surveys tell us that they feel we have high expectations for learning and that their child feels supported and cared for. And that's a really important part of a school community to provide to the CUNA district. Sounds like I'm out of time. I did have a tiny little letter that a CUNA parent wrote that I don't know if I am able to read to you. Or
You
if
can go ahead and wrap
you want me to read that? Okay, thank you so much. So she says it better than us. So this is a CUNA, this is a CUNA resident who has a child or children in our Boise district. Hello, my name is, and this is to you. Hello, my name is Jackie Gogan, and I live at 609 South Red Oak Avenue, CUNA, Idaho. We have been a part of the CUNA community for 30 years. I wanted to write in support of the Madrone development because I am so excited about the possibility of having a SAGE International School in CUNA. Our children currently attend SAGE International's Boise School campus, and it's been a wonderful school, but a challenging drive back and forth to downtown Boise each day. And this is about a 19-mile drive for her. Our children have thrived at SAGE and have blossomed. We believe that the educational choice that SAGE offers will complement the educational programming offered by the CUNA district, allowing CUNA families to choose a school model that best fits the needs of their particular family. We also appreciate that public charter schools like SAGE build their schools without needing local property tax levies, a significant saving to CUNA families. For these reasons, I am in favor of approving the Madrone development. Thank you again for your time, and thank you for your service to the city of CUNA, and I'd like to express also my thanks to you for your service, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, questions?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Scott Hedrick.
Scott Hedrick, 1154 North Orchard, Boise, Idaho. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here this evening to speak in favor of Madrone Village for several reasons. I've attended several of these hearings over the past years, and common opposition has been school capacity. It's the first hearing I've attended where the applicant is resolving the school capacity issue by donating a site for a charter school that will provide capacity exceeding 270% of the students generated by Madrone Village. The applicant is also donating a public park to the CUNA Parks. Applicant has already donated a 2-acre parcel to CUNA Rural Fire District where Fire Station number 2 is planned to be built and will provide expedited fire and first responder times south of the tracks. I'm a general contractor. In the past, I built CUNA High School and I built 2 elementary schools for CUNA and have remodeled both those elementary schools since then. I was awarded the contract as a general contractor to build Fire Station number 2 in July. There's a number of major issues that have come up since that contract was awarded. The 2-acre parcel donated by the applicant to the CUNA Rural Fire District is not an improved lot. It's an undeveloped parcel that needs to be developed. Like any other development, CUNA code requires that the developer bring all CUNA utilities to and through their parcel. This would include sewer, water, and pressure irrigation. The nearest sewer connection is an existing manhole 880 feet away from Fire Station 2. Our project, when we bid the project, had the sewer, water, and pressure irrigation shown on the plans, and it will not work. Public Works will not accept what was on those plans. Therefore, it has to be modified. The nearest sewer connection is 880 feet away. It's between 22 and 26 feet deep in basalt or rock. It will require saw cutting. Unfortunately, rock saws do not cut this deep. It's going to require a 6 to 8 foot deep trench that'll have to be excavated, and then the rock saw would come in and saw cut for the sewer line. This possibly could destroy the entire width of CUNA Road and require a rebuild of CUNA Road. 12-inch pressure irrigation is 1,000 feet west and should be installed behind the right-of-way in an easement that would be granted if in Madrone Village if approved. There's a 12-inch domestic water line in CUNA Road that is valved and stubbed to the south to extend in Madrone Avenue, reflected in the Madrone Village application. This is the water main connection that provides service to Fire Station number 2 that installs in the right-of-way that exists only if Madrone Village is approved. None of these improvements required for Fire Station 2 development comply with CUNA's to and through requirements. These improvements that we are currently pricing, we got new plans last week, would add a substantial amount of money for us to go 880 feet to connect to the 26-foot deep sewer. In addition, there's an access issue. Station 2 design has emergency vehicle signalized access to CUNA Road that is for emergency vehicle use only. The primary access to Station 2 is depicted as a temporary access that does not meet the ACHD's spacing requirement from Madrone Avenue. ACHD might allow this as a temporary access that is be built before Phase 1 of Madrone Village, but if Madrone Village is denied, the temporary access becomes permanent and is not allowed by ACHD. Imperative to understand that if approved tonight, Phase 1 of Madrone Village will bring sewer, water, and pressure irrigation to the fire station site. It'll construct Madrone Avenue south of CUNA Road, providing the permanent access connection for Station 2. And that's why I'm in support of this project. I think it will solve a lot of things for the CUNA Fire District too, and possibly money going back to the taxpayers where the developer would commit to these utilities. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. Questions for Mr. Hendricks?
I do, sir.
Yes, Councilmember Spiggs.
So, am I hearing right then? So if this doesn't pass, the fire station is, I guess, its future hangs in the balance.
Well, we have a written contract to build this fire station and build it in about 180 working days once we actually get a building permit. Public Works will not, has not approved the current utility plan. Therefore, the building department has thus far has not reviewed it to issue a building permit. So we don't know when that's gonna take place. So I wouldn't say that it's hanging in the balance. We have a contract to build the fire station. But to do this new utility plan from what we were given last week, roughly Thursday of last week, we have to now price this sewer going this distance, and the cost could be substantial. So I think if you've got a developer that's willing to bring it to the site within the time frame that we need, which the applicant is committed that if he's approved tonight, he would begin CD drawings on Phase 1 tomorrow, and we need sewer, water, and pressure irrigation in 6 months. And I think if that's accomplished, that solves a lot of problems for everybody. And then we have money then would go back to the CUNA Fire District for utility work that we're not doing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, further question?
No, sir.
All right,
Very good.
Thank you, sir. Tim Jensen.
Tim Jensen with CUNA School District, 711 East Porter Street here in CUNA. Good to be back in front of you after a little hiatus. And so, CUNA School District, I first want to say we're not in opposition to other schools and choice and stuff like that. This isn't a CUNA versus Sage issue. I think the applicant, and they've already stated, they understand there's gonna be an impact on the public schools, you know, and to start out, you know, K4, and I know, very familiar with Sage's model, have friends that are teachers and administrators within their system, but going through, you know, a K4, eventually building out to a K8, after, you know, until and if that high school is built, then those kids transition to a high school. And most likely, if it's close to here, it's either CUNA High School or Swan Falls High. And so, you know, and I know I watched your last meeting, and I know Danielle talked to you about the impact, or the population sizes of our schools, and CUNA High School's at 110% capacity right now, you know, and so we'd be feeding into something that's already 10% over capacity. But they, you know, that's the thing about this, is there's not a denial that we can't force the people that live in this development to go to the school that's built in that neighborhood. Probably many would choose to, it's, you know, be convenient, able to go there. But there's also a lot of the parents, and I'll bring up the athletic side of it, you know, you know, from my experience working in 1A size districts all the way up to now 6A size districts, athletics are a big thing. And so, you know, those kids that want to play those sports that aren't, you know, usually basketball, volleyball are kind of the primary ones that they start out with. You know, if they want to play football, football's an extremely expensive sport. You guys seen that, you know, equipment and obviously coaches and personnel and maintenance that goes with the facilities. And so there is a cost to that. And we weren't able to come to an agreement, a mitigation agreement. And I know the developer says, well, the mitigation is we're building a charter school that's helping to relieve your pressure, and I completely get that, but it's not, we are still gonna have an impact in the public schools. And so it's been quite a while ago, we submitted a letter of non-support based on those different things, those obstacles, because there will be an impact on the local public school district. And so I just want to bring that forward with you guys and stand for any questions.
Thank you, Tim. Questions for
I do.
Mr. Jensen? Yes.
Thank you,
Councilmember
Mr. Jensen. Nice to see you again. So I'll reiterate like I did with Danielle and before. The community has said we're not going to pass a bond, and then developers don't want to participate, but the schools are still growing. I've asked for a capacity plan, right? Because at some point it's got to change. You can't just keep packing them in there. You've got to say, what does that look like? Is it mobile units? Is it buses? Is it teachers? If you could please share that with whoever's on your building committee,
Yeah.
that please provide that, because if it, you know, maybe you have folks who are coming in to develop and they'd say, well, I understand there's going to be more capacity. You need 6 trailers, you need buses, you need teachers. Maybe they're more apt to do that to at least help ease the burden of the schools. And then that way we know as well, because it gets kind of confusing when sometimes you show up and you're like, oh, well, we'll partner or we won't, or we're full or we won't. So, and I know that puts you in a weird spot. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but we need something so that we can make the best decision when we're looking at these projects. So thank you.
Yeah, no, and Councilman Bruce, like I said, I watched your last meeting and saw, you know, that you had made that same comment, and it was something I took note of. I've officially been on the clock back in this position for about 36 hours, so tried to do some cramming on stuff, but,
And I know it's not ideal to put, you know, mobile units and things like that, but
Yeah.
when you're full, you're full. You have to make it work. So we just need to know what that looks like. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Further questions for Mr. Jensen? Yes, Councilmember Biggs.
Just one real quick, Tim.
Yeah.
This would feed into Indian Creek Elementary
yes,
and I guess CUNA Middle School.
CUNA Middle School, yeah.
What's the capacity on both of those right now?
Off the top of my head, I know Indian Creek is at 80, I'm gonna say it's 87, but I don't quote me, because with the boundary changes, we just had, like, a lot of that just shifted.
They start at Indian Creek, and they go to Ross, right? Is it
Yeah, go
afterwards?
Indian
Okay.
Creek, Ross, then CUNA Middle,
Okay.
from Ross, and so, yeah. And so CUNA Middle School right now, depending on the grade level you're looking at, they're at 90, I'm gonna say it was 91% capacity if I recall right. But like their 6th grade is over capacity, you know, and I'm the principal at Fremont Middle School, and we got an influx of kids this year, and we're 24 kids over capacity school-wide. And so it's just, you know, it's the dynamics of,
Yeah.
you know, people moving in. We don't know from year to year what the, you know, what those impacts will be, and so.
And can I make one more
Yes,
request?
go ahead.
So the district was providing a letter or statistics of every development that was outstanding and what that looked like. Do you know why they stopped providing that to us, or if they could you provide that again? It's been what, a year?
Yeah, it's the one with all the colors on it.
Yeah, it shows, hey, these are the developments that are outstanding, here's what these capacities look like as we grow, so that way, it's easier for us to visualize, so,
Yeah, no, I can absolutely, like I said,
thank you.
getting back into the position.
In the
I'll
groove.
Help you out any way I can, so.
Anything further? Mr. Jensen, thank you.
Thank you,
Yes,
Mr.
thank you.
Jensen.
Thank you.
All right, and that is all I had to sign up to testify. Is anybody else who wishes to testify that didn't get a chance? All right, seeing none, rebuttal.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Do you want to go first, Tim?
Yeah, Tim Mack, I'm the applicant, live at 6357 Buena Vista Lane, Star, Idaho. You know, there's a bit of history on this. Planning and zoning had, one of the planning and zoning commissioners had a real.
Mr. Eck, can you speak
Maybe
into the
s-
mic for me?
there you
Thank
go.
you.
Had a real opposition to a caveat that we wanted to offer, and that was that during school hours, access to the park would be restricted for the school students. Park and Rec was fine with that. The school was fine with that. I thought this was a great benefit, as it would provide additional level of safety for the students that were using the park. The particular planning and zoning commissioner just lost it on that idea. What about the mother of the 3-year-old that wants to go to the park and she can't because it's during school hours? At the same time, in 2 years, that 3-year-old could be going to that school and have a secured park to use for the next 18 years. We're open to whatever works best for the city. You know, so we'll let the park be open all the time. School's fine with that, Park and Rec's is fine with that. Or if the city feels like it would be safer for this carry, no carry concern, to have the park access limited to students during school hours, we can do that. It's not the only parks in CUNA that the 2-year-old could go visit. Our connection to CUNA Road, our subdivision will provide 2 additional fully improved, fully turn lane, acceleration lanes, deceleration lanes, center left turn lane connections to CUNA Road. We more than triple the access to CUNA Road at 10 Mile. In addition, when the school comes in, they'll have to do their own traffic impact study, and they'll be responsible for any additional traffic mitigation that comes up in that traffic impact study. I think the general idea is that with the addition of the mid-mile collectors that we'll be producing, the local roads that we'll be producing, the 2 full-service connections to CUNA Road, we're going to reduce the traffic at 10 Mile and CUNA. We're not going to increase it. It's a mess there with the Falcon Crest or Falcon Charter School. Who wants to go that way? They're going to go around it when they can. Gem Prep in Gallica that was approved 3 weeks ago will be a K through 12 from the beginning. The 2 schools combined will provide 1,000 seats for butts. I think that was your phrase.
Yep.
Provide over 1,000 seats for butts, but we'll only be producing about 500 students or less. In the beginning, the Gem Prep school at Gallica Heights provides more capacity than the student generation from both subdivisions. So the school at this location just helps with the school need throughout the entire community. You know, when we started looking at the site, we knew that CUNA needed a fire station. When we did Madrone across the street, that was the biggest thing. We need first responders out there. So I worked with CUNA Fire. We struggled long and hard. We found a location. Everybody loved it. It's a perfect location for the fire station. So we bought the land, partly so we can facilitate that need. Had not planned on donating the site before the plat was approved, but they needed it. They needed it to get the bond passed. bond had failed repeatedly, partly because, well, we need a fire station, but we have no idea where. Now you know where. Now you have a site. It's free. Build your fire station. But the utilities are a major problem. My ballpark estimate of those improvements is about $2 million. It's not covered in the bond. It's not covered in the budget. It's gonna be a major bust. We bring it to their door. We give them the permanent access. We give them all these utilities at their property boundary. I'm not sure where they're gonna get the other $2 million to finish that station. If they have to comply with the CUNA's code that developers must bring all utilities to and through. If it was Jackson's, they'd be bringing it all to and through. They'd be spending that $2 million. Well, they wouldn't spend $2 million because they're not public. But when you go to public work, and you gotta have a public works bid, the numbers go up. We've all seen the picture of the dinghy that says contract and the mega yacht that says change order. There's a hole there. We'll fill it. We'll take care of it for them. We'll start design immediately. We will expedite an off-site plan that will bring all these utilities to the fire station. I've told Public Works this, as well as every, and the fire department knows this as well. I don't know if you have any time.
I don't have much to add. Tim is super thorough, as you probably are all aware. The conceptual phasing plan, just to kind of piggyback on what he was saying, was developed specifically to make sure that the fire station lot was within the first phase of development. So if this project were to be approved, the first phase includes 66 residential lots, but it also includes 6 commercial lots, the fire station lot, the school lot, and the park lot. So Tim wanted to front load all of the amenities he's proposing with this development for the first phase. So like he said, if we were to just start designing tomorrow, we would get something submitted and hopefully, start construction maybe next spring or fall, depending on review times and all that good stuff. But, like he said, the services would be brought to the fire station lot so that they would be able to develop their building with the money that they already have.
I know KM will fast track the design work for us, and I believe the city will fast track the approval process to get the necessary improvements in for the fire station so that we can get started on it as quickly as possible.
Okay. Further questions?
You answered mine.
No, sir.
No, not at this time, no.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I do have a question for Adam.
Okay.
Adam, in the Public Works memo, it talks about the 655 EDUs. You want to expand on that some?
Council President Bruce, realistically, that's a big win. As we all know, 10 Mile is a burden. It's overloaded. This cannot work as is going into 10 Mile. This offsite changes those EDUs to go into Danskin, which then frees up that space in the basin, which allows for this and subsequent headroom for future developments or just breathing room in the 10 Mile basin. Does that answer, or would you like something more specific?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to clarify, this subdivision is not going to the lagoons?
It ultimately will, yes, sir.
Okay.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Yes, sort of. The memorandum from you, to me, doesn't make sense because it talks about connection points at K and Limestone. I think you got this project and the one over off of K and Deer Flat mixed up a little bit. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but I didn't catch this when I read it the other day. But the connection points you're talking about, East Limestone and Olivine, that's over by the bus barn. So maybe we need a new paper from you, but I mean, I know what it probably meant to say, that it was going to 10 Mile and out, and you shifted EDUs on the north side of the tracks to make this possible.
Councilmember McPherson, that is correct. I believe those street names must be in there for another one of the 106 projects we have going on. I apologize for that.
106, is that all you got going on?
I'm sorry.
Jeez, oh Pete's. Yeah, no big deal. I started reading it again tonight and I was like, wait a minute, these roads are a mile and a half away, so.
Are you pumping a lot of, well, I'll stop.
That's, you know, going a long way around the block.
Councilman Laraway, did you have any questions for anyone before I close evidence?
No, I'm sitting here looking at the traffic and I'm like, traffic is, every time we have a subdivision, traffic is a problem, but I don't wanna say it's the problem. It seems to be the excuse of why we don't do something. And ACHD is in control of that. They're the ones that have the little wizard's hats on that figure out all the traffic movement and traffic devices that move traffic. And I think the developer looks like he's gonna do quite a bit of a update on some of the roads. I think traffic is always gonna be an issue. And that's the only thing I see wrong with this is the traffic, so I can't let it be the issue.
Did you have a question? We're still in evidence.
What's that?
We're still presenting evidence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
That's
thought that we'd moved on.
Oh. Did you have any questions, Matt?
Okay,
Ow.
I move we close evidence presentation and move to deliberation.
Second.
motion's made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Now the floor is yours, Mr. Laraway.
Do you
or
want to
Council-
repeat it?
Yeah, verbatim.
No, I just, again, we're back to the traffic, and the traffic is always, it's always a sticking point, no matter if it's the surrounding neighborhoods that have a problem with the subdivision. I'm sure the subdivisions that were there before that had a problem with their traffic. We have to trust ACHD is gonna make the right decision, and we have to trust that the road improvements that the developers are required to improve are going to flow along at the same time as we start reaching the problem. But again, I don't know if it's gonna be a problem, as a lot of the traffic is gonna be going north. I don't know if a lot of traffic is gonna be going through town when they can go out Black Cat and cut across Columbia. I don't know.
Well, and I think that's, I love the idea of the schools, but when it comes to traffic, anybody can say they can do a project if you push it out far enough, right? ACHD can say, hey, we'll do anything. It'll be 30 years, but what is the quality of life that everyone has around there sitting in traffic everywhere we go, right? There is, that impact to our community. If they're gonna go north, if you look at the developments that we have on 10 Mile and on Black Cat, all those have been approved because they were already annexed. So we were kind of handcuffed there on a lot of those because they were approved a long time ago. This is an annexation. This is somewhere where we have more control and we could say, hey, we're gonna pause it and see what happens with the other developments around it. I know that they're helping with the fire station, and I think that's one thing. Would the community around it want to trade off the fire station being built for the impact of traffic that they're gonna deal with? I don't like the fact that that it's one or the other, right? I don't like being put in that position. I think,
Can we make sure we're speaking in the mics, especially when the train's going by? Thank you. It makes Garrett's job a little easier.
it gives Garrett something to do. So those are my concerns, right? The traffic on Black Cat, on 10 Mile, all the developments that are approved up that way. Also, I don't like the fact that we're stuck in this position to where if we don't approve it, the fire station on the south side of the tracks is either gonna cost a lot more to the community or not gonna be done. I don't know why that wasn't, looked at prior to getting to the stage it was at. That's nothing that we can do. But this is an annexation, so this is what we have more control over. With 6,000 to 7,000 homes that are already outstanding in the community, we've always talked about annexation. So those are just my thoughts.
And I see your point.
Yeah.
I'm living on that side of the tracks now, which I never had up until a year ago, but times of the day, yeah, it's rough. And I get your point on that. This is where we control it at the annexation level, and I don't know why the calculation for that connection was missed. I think they anticipated it would probably be developed the same time the fire station started,
Coming together.
yeah, and all that. So I think that was maybe just an oversight, whatever. To me, it's a trade-off that, it took, and Mayor Steer can attest to this, 25, 30 years to get a bond for a second station or more. I mean, it took that long to get that first station built from where we were downtown.
Yeah.
So to me, the trade-offs were that, and they've downsized, I mean, you've heard the testimony on what they wanted to bring forward and what they had planned for that, so the fact that they scaled it way back and they're eating the 2 mil to get water and sewer to get a fire station for our citizens on that side of town.
Yeah.
And I get the school issue too. I mean, charter school's not gonna eat all that subdivision up, and it's gonna burden our other school. It's also gonna pull from the other school too, in essence, so. To me, there's a lot of trade-off for the good on this project, where a lot, you're right, at the annexation level, we can say,
Yeah.
I mean, in me personally, this one's a 100% go.
Well, I think they did address the fire station had to be done early in order, it had to be annexed and donated before they could go for a bond.
Bond, yes.
And that's why they came in way ahead of this development, but yeah, it is tied, although it was done separately.
Right.
Well, I also think that we're looking at, it's not only 10 Mile that traffic's gonna be using, but you have that overpass at Linder that's gonna be probably done before this is done. I mean, there's a lot of avenues to go north. I agree with what you're saying, but I also look at that fire station going, that's a public safety need. It's a need. It's not a, hey, how about this? It is needed on that side of the tracks. Now, I don't know the cost difference between the developer paying for that or the fire station paying for it, but it is a need. It's a safety need. That's just my 2 cents.
I think you said $2 million.
All right? Okay.
I wish that we didn't have to approve a subdivision to fill that need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I guess I have a problem. It feels like this is kind of being hung above, it's like, well, and I know this is not what misdirect means, but approve this or else kind of a thing. Well, also with the 10 Mile lift station, easing the burden off of 10 Mile lift station because of this. Also, because they're gonna map those EDUs to other places so that the issues there can be mitigated. One thing about the south, anything that's on the south side, I also take great interest in, because we have a severe lack of commercial on the south side. And this will do a little bit, didn't really get too much into what those, what is planned for that C1 beyond the fire station, I guess, but we definitely sorely need commercial on the south side to offset a lot of this residential growth. I do like the traffic plans that'll mitigate traffic in that area, but overall, all of CUNA, whether you go east, north, or southeast, I guess, out to King, is gonna increase the traffic, period. We all know it. So, issues with that as well. The design, I think, looks good, and the school's obviously a great thing. But I do have some questions, just like I guess the Planning and Zoning Commission did as well. So, the schools will bear a brunt for a while. CUNA School District, there's already so many other subdivisions that you alluded to that aren't even, that are still, that might be getting shoulder dirt before this one does. That's only gonna add to that 110% they're already seeing at KHS. So, and then the feeder schools, so.
If you're looking at a scale of things, on the negative side, we've talked about traffic. But on the other side, we're talking about, we're getting a fire station, which is needed, we're getting a school, which is needed, we're getting commercial, which is a start. I mean, the scale tips certain way for me on public safety.
No, and I don't deny that benefit, but it just feels like we have to, I wish we didn't have to approve a subdivision to get to that point, to address that need.
Well, and I guess we could look at, we don't, but then where does it go from there, right? Then it's back to the taxpayer to foot that bill. Would they want that, or would they want 3,000 extra trips a day, right? I see the public safety benefit, but I just look at annexations in general. At some point, we're tapped out, so. But I see the value of, that's kind of all I have to say. I'll stand for a motion if any of you got one.
I'll be recusing myself on this one because I live in the subdivision directly to the south.
Okay.
Going to be affected by this.
Okay. Sorry, Mark Bybee, City Attorney. Councilman Member Biggs, I would advise you, and you have already participated in deliberations, as far as from a legal sense, do you have an obligation to recuse yourself just because you live in a nearby subdivision? My answer to you is no. And also, I think the fact that you already participated in deliberations, I don't know that your recusal from the vote would cure an issue if you were prohibited from voting. So my point is, I think you can legally participate unless you have some pecuniary interest in this development that has not been announced. And I think your participation to this point has already been substantial, so I'm concerned about the recusal. It might just be ceremonial more than legally required.
Well, no, we had a situation recently that's just made me give me second thoughts on if there's anything that could be perceived that of bias or anything like that. That's why.
I understand where you're talking about the one that's yeah, I understand what you're talking about.
Yep.
Okay then. I would move we approve case number 2408 AN and 2405 S with the conditions listed in the packet.
Okay, do we have a second?
You're recused? Put the hat on. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. Is there any further discussion on that motion? All those in actually, I'm gonna go ahead and Nathan do a roll, please.
Council President Bruce,
No.
Councilmember Laraway,
Yes.
Councilmember McPherson,
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Thank you for the good discussion. That was a lot to take in, and I think you did a good job of getting through that. All right, if people are leaving, I will let that happen before we go ahead and move on.
Mayor, can I address the council briefly?
What's that?
Can I address the council briefly?
Well, it's not here,
I know.
but thank you.
Can you move close enough for that to be a problem?
Well, traffic wise, it's good. But
All right, that takes us to ordinances. Item 8A is the third reading of ordinance 2025-31, Idaho Power Franchise Agreement. An ordinance in accordance with Idaho Code 50-328 and 50-329 and 50A329A, granting a franchise to Idaho Power Company, a corporation and its successors, and assigns to construct, maintain, and operate in and upon present and future streets, highways, and other public places within the corporate limits of the city of Kuna, Idaho, electric utility property and facilities for supplying electricity and electric service to the city, the inhabitants thereof, and others for a term of 10 years, including the non-exclusive right to physically locate and maintain telephone, cable, fiber optics, or other telecommunications facilities, setting forth an agreement not to compete, reserving power of eminent domain, providing for the payment of franchise fees, and specifying other limitations, terms, and conditions governing the exercise of said franchise. And so that was the third reading, so that will be on the agenda for the next council meeting.
Sure don't want to read it a couple more times?
Yeah, yeah. Let's see, item B, consideration to approve ordinance 2025-33, a municipal rezone ordinance of the City Council of the City of Kuna, making certain findings and rezoning certain real property, to wit, Ada County parcel numbers S141931480 and S141931480, owned by Warner Buckner Partnership, and parcel number S141931450, owned by the City of Kuna, situated within the corporate limits of the City of Kuna, Ada County, Idaho, and amending the zoning map and directing the city engineer and city clerk, and providing an effective date.
I move we waive 3 readings of ordinance 2025-33.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to waive the 3 readings. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I move we approve ordinance 2025-33.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded for approval of the ordinance. Nathan, would you poll the council?
Councilmember McPherson,
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs,
Yes.
Councilmember Laraway,
Yes.
Council President Bruce.
Yes.
And that motion carries. Consideration to approve ordinance 2025-34, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Kuna making certain findings and enlarging the boundaries of the Kuna Municipal Irrigation System by the inclusion of Ada County Assessors TH Holdings 2022 LLC, and declaring water rights appurtenant thereto are pooled for delivery purposes, and directing the city clerk to record this ordinance as provided by law, and directing the city engineer to provide notice of this ordinance to the Boise Kuna Irrigation District, the owners, and update the irrigation system map, and providing an effective date.
I move we waive 3 readings of ordinance 2025-34.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to waive the 3 readings. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I move we approve ordinance 2025-34.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded for approval. Nathan, would you poll the council?
Council President Bruce,
Yes.
Councilmember Laraway,
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs,
Yes.
Councilmember McPherson.
Yes.
And that motion carries. That is all we had on the agenda tonight. I would like to bring attention to Ada County Highway District is requesting comment on their impact fees. And they have a map that they're showing to divide that into 2 areas. It's pretty much a straight line running north to south. The one thing that I have issue with on that is it cuts, for all intensive purposes, it cuts our industrial zone out of our area of impact fee collection. So that puts that money east of us instead of towards us. So not sure exactly the implications of that. I'm going to have discussions with them and see if I can get some more information on that. But
if you'd like.
I am a little uncomfortable with that line cutting our area in half.
Well, if you'd like, more input on that, I'd like to participate too, because they
Okay.
tend to spend most of those dollars outside of our area already.
Is that something that
Yeah.
can come together as a statement from the council, like?
We can certainly do that. I mostly wanted to bring it to your attention so that you, they have a comment period right now, so you can do that personally, and then, we can get together with ACHD and have a discussion about that, but I don't fully, I understand why they want to do that, and obviously a straight line's the easiest way to do that, but, it just cutting our biggest impact area out of our area is, seems to be problematic to me, so.
I'll agree with that.
And did anybody else have anything? I'll tell you, staff's been working hard. Michelle is coming into her own here. She has, been out and, walking the downtown, meeting business owners and getting out and learning some of the stuff we have and finding good opportunities for the city. So kudos to Michelle and her efforts to move forward. And she's done that kind of, well, I heard she had Jessica working in her office with her, but I think she's kind of been doing that on her own. So thank you for that effort, and we appreciate that. Adam's done great things and gotten us a long way with Public Works. Very pleased with that. Things are going really good there. We don't have any of the issues we used to have. He reported today that 100% of the hydrants have been either exercised or replaced, and so that's complete. We don't have to worry about fire hydrants being ineffective anymore.
Overweight.
Adam, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah,
What's he
exercised
sucking
them.
up to the fire department for?
I don't know. Well, we like fire hydrants.
Yeah.
One note on that, Mayor, there are 18 old-style scissor hydrants that have not been addressed and will not be addressed because to do so would cause them to fail, and we would have to replace them at the spot. So those will be replaced in this year and next year's budget. But aside from those 18, you are correct. 100% have been
What was the
verified
number of
operational.
those total?
Oh,
It was a lot.
Yeah,
More
and-
than I thought.
And thank you, by the way, because that was,
1,667.
yeah. And that was, remember that was a fight for years, so thank you.
Yes, yeah, so. And Nancy's always working through our policy manuals, trying to keep updated on those. We seem to always keep Mark busy with something, so we appreciate his efforts.
If I give a little update?
Yes, go ahead.
The IDEQ lawsuit's officially wrapped up, other than Adam has to comply with the judgment. But besides that, the penalty that we had to pay was paid. And now just we're progressing through the new judicial review matter. We did something last week called lodging the record. That's basically means we made it available to the parties so that they can review it and object to it. And I'm just letting the council know if there is an objection raised, which the type of objections tend to be something's missing that should have been in the record, which happens, but I don't think we missed anything, but it does happen. Or there's errors in the transcript. Oddly, the council would be called on to decide those objections and take some kind of action on them. So I'm just kind of loading you to let you know that if something comes in the next 7 days, that it would be on your next agenda to deal with the objection.
Okay.
So I don't anticipate anything, but you never know. I've been in judicial reviews from the petitioner side where the objection was the record was an absolute mess. But your staff keeps a pretty good record here, so I don't think we should have an issue. And if we do, I hope it's just minor. But after that lodged record is settled, is the term, then we filed the settled record with the court, and that's when it kind of starts getting into the briefing schedule.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, that was several years coming too, thank you.
And then clerk's office, as always, they went through and put all that together, it looked to me almost about like a phone book when they got done. Garrett was going through that feverishly to look for mistakes, did a great job with that. Nathan's got a great staff and they're doing good things there.
If it's any consolation, there's a recent Supreme Court case that Boise was the party on that had like a 600,000 page record, so.
I don't think it was that big, no, no. But it started to look like, he asked me if I wanted to look at it and review his work, and I said, I think you're good. And Doug and all of his folks are doing good things, consistently moving forward, doing good work, making changes where changes need. And Chief Fertusco, he's had some issues come up with injured folks and people that are off, and so they've been dealing with some short staff issues, but still getting the work done and doing our community policing as well as our calls for service. So I'm really proud of our police officers. We've had some transfers out. That means we get some new folks in. They're always very pleased to be chosen to get to be part of the CUNA team, and I think all those, well, a lot of that has to do with community and the fact that the community is supportive of our police and make them feel welcome here. But Chief Fertusco has done a great job in making this a place that they want to be.
Did we get our motorcycle?
We have not got a motorcycle yet. That's still coming, but we have both of those officers now are off for a little while. I think Tyson's coming back.
Frank will be back.
Oh, Frank, I'm sorry, yes.
I have one thing as well.
Yes, go ahead.
I spoke to I received calls about motor vehicles and camping and all kind of stuff out by Blacks Creek and Cunamora. I did talk to the sheriff, and he said he had also received multiple complaints, so he was sending somebody out there to check it out, just so you guys know, if you get questions from the community about it as well. So he texted me today and let me know that they were sending people out there.
And we have
Sure,
some
good.
other issues that we're working through. Mark is helping out with some ordinance stuff with through the chief.
Okay.
On e-bikes and camping and things like that, all those things that are coming up, so.
Okay.
Yeah, keeping track of all that as best we can, but some of those are tough to deal with.
Yeah.
Especially like the e-bike thing. I mean, we got folks running them things all over the place, and it's police have their hands tied a little bit on what that is that they can even do about it, so.
Yeah, if I see that new motorcycle chasing the e-bike down the street, I'm gonna know it's been out of hand.
Those illegal, those campers too.
Yeah.
Because they're on BLM land. That's out of our hands.
Yeah, I reached out to BLM also just to find out what, obviously the government shutdown, you don't get a lot of people that want to call you back right now. But,
And Jared's out on a training. I didn't think he needed training. I thought he knew everything, but apparently there was something he needed caught up on, so. But him and his team have been doing strong work also, so. Very proud of all of our folks that work here at the city and doing a good job, so. Irrigation water was let out today, so they're working to get that all buttoned up for the winter and make it to where there's as little impact as possible when it comes to start it up again next spring. So, anyway, that's all I have, and I appreciate you all very much, and thank you.